Hi everybody, welcome to this 45-minute Vinyasa Flow with me, Yoga Don. Vinyasa is a particularly dynamic style of yoga with the poses intended to flow directly from one into the next, so it can generate quite a lot of heat in the body, so water and a towel might be useful. You might also need some blocks. If you don't have these, you can fashion them out of stacks of books. So go and get ready, make sure you're in some comfy clothes and join me down on the mat. We begin this Vinyasa flow with 3 pranayama exercises. Breathwork is very important in Vinyasa as it integrates with the postures in order to bring a balance between the mind and the body. So we close our eyes, bringing our hands onto our knees, and we just bring our attention into the body. Becoming aware, becoming conscious of our breathing. Noticing how it feels as the air fills into the body. And also noticing how it feels as the air leaves the body. Maybe we become aware of how cool the air feels as we breathe it in, and how much warmer the air feels as it leaves the body. Bringing our right hand onto our belly. As we inhale, we feel the air fill the belly space. And as we exhale, we feel the belly draw back to the spine as it empties. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, we feel the air fill the belly space. Exhale, the belly draws back towards the spine. Inhale, we really push the belly out as it fills, fills, fills. Exhale, belly draws back to the spine. Bringing our left hand onto our heart, we'll move into a 3-part yogic breath. So as we inhale, we want to isolate the breath and feel it first in the belly, then in the chest, ribs, then in the heart. And as we exhale, we want to first feel the air leave from the heart, then the ribs, and then the belly. So we'll do that 3 more times. Inhaling into the belly, ribs, heart, and we exhale first from the heart, then the ribs, then the belly. Inhaling into the belly, ribs, heart. Exhale from the heart, ribs, belly. We'll do that 1 more time. Inhaling into the belly, ribs, heart. Exhale, heart, ribs, belly. Bringing both our hands back down to our knees. We'll just let our breath come back to a natural rhythm. And just notice if there's any change in the body. Pranayama is a very powerful exercise, so maybe we're already starting to feel like we're coming back to feeling recentered and connected. Opening our eyes, we get ready to come into the asanas. So we'll start by placing our hands at the front of the mat, making sure that our fingers are spread really nice and wide, like duck's feet. Pressing the hands into the earth, we tuck the toes and push up into a downward dog. Our hands want to be shoulder width apart, feet need to be hip width apart, and we want to just start pedaling out the feet. We should try to be bending the hips at about 90 degrees. And the first downward dog should always be quite playful, so maybe you want to find some movement to the right or to the left side. If it feels good, it probably means your body needs to be stretched there, so just play around with where those little parts in the body need to be stretched and worked. And from here, we just find a bit of stillness. On our next inhale, the right leg sweeps up to the sky. We bend the knee and we open the leg to the left side. This is a really beautiful hip opener. And for each posture, we will be holding it for 5 breaths. We'll do 2 more breaths here. Back through center, the leg sweeps under the body and we plant the right foot between our hands. Straightening both legs, we can bring our blocks, if that feels comfortable, and place our hand on blocks either side. If you're happy to touch the floor, then that's perfect. But the most important thing is that you feel supported and you're not straining your muscles. The left heel should be just off the mat. We should have a straight back. Gaze should be just on the right toe. And just breathe here. Find your breath. We'll do 1 more breath here. This is a lovely stretch for the calves and the hamstrings. Dropping the left knee to the mat, the right foot comes flexing back towards the head. So we want straight right leg, flexing the toes. And again, we're going to keep our back straight here. We can use the blocks if we want to use blocks, or our hands can come down onto the mat. And just really let the calves and the hamstrings elongate. If you want something slightly deeper, you can just flex the foot a little bit more and you'll just feel the muscles tweaking a little bit. Do 2 more breaths here. Planting our right foot, arm sweep to the sky, coming into a low lunge. Hands come behind the back, clasping as we open up the chest. Gaze comes up to the ceiling or sky. Maybe our fingers can just drip down the left thigh. Really trying to open up and find an expansiveness in the chest. We'll do 2 more breaths here. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky, hands together, down through heart center. We take a big inhale, and on our exhale, we rotate to the right side. So our left elbow finds the right knee, and we press our hands together in order to open up and hinge to the right side. Two more breaths here. back through center. Hands plant at the front of the mat. We tuck the left toe and push back up into a downward dog. Just pedaling the feet out, checking in with the alignment of our body, making sure that our hands are shoulder width, our feet are hip width apart. Downward dog is a really great opportunity to recalibrate the body. So you'll notice between postures we very often come back to downward dog. It just resets the structure of the body. Coming to stillness. We inhale, the left leg sweeps up to the sky. Bending the knee, we open to the right side of the body. This is a beautiful hip opener. Doing 2 more breaths here. Left leg comes back through center, sweeps under the body and plants between the hands. We just step the right foot in and we straighten both legs. We can bring our blocks if we want to support our hands, making sure the right heel is just a little bit off the mat. Keeping our back straight. We just feel the calf and the hamstring start to stretch. Always bringing ourselves back to the breath, really noticing the quality of the breath, because ultimately the quality of the posture is directly linked to the quality of the breath. You don't want to be holding your breath, you want to be breathing softly and consistently through each pose. Dropping the right knee to the mat, we straighten the left leg, flexing the foot, toes pointing towards the head. Again here, if you want something a little bit more, we can just flex the foot. You'll notice as you flex, it tugs on the hamstrings and the calves. Two more breaths here. Planting the left foot, arms sweep up to the sky, coming into a low lunge. Hands come behind the back and we clasp them together, opening up the chest. Fingers can just drip down the right thigh. We want our gaze to be up to the ceiling or sky. We'll do 2 more breaths here. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky, hands together, down through heart center. We take an inhale, and as we exhale, we rotate to the left, so the right elbow wants to find the left knee. We really press the palms together in order to hinge the body open to the left side. Great twist for the spine. The aim really is to create a beautiful straight line from the left elbow all the way down to the left ankle. Two more breaths here. Coming back through center. Our hands plant at the front of the mat, pushing up into downward dog, pedaling out the feet once again. Gaze comes to the front of the mat, and we can either walk or float to the front as we bend our knees, coming into a forward fold. we're just going to play with our balance here. Maybe swinging the arms from side to side. Hands come onto our elbows, coming into ragdoll as we just tip onto the balls and then the heels. Making sure that gravity is doing the work for us. We want the front of the body to be as heavy as can be. Dropping the arms back down to the mat, we gently start rolling the body up. The slower, the better. We want to feel ourselves come back up to standing, vertebra by vertebra. Making sure the head is the very last thing to roll all the way back up. Beautiful roll for the spine. And when we're back up to standing, we are going to move into our sun salutations. So we'll do 3 rounds, and we start at the front of the mat in mountain pose. So we want to imagine anchors below our feet dropping down into the ocean below us. We want to feel really stable and strong. Palms down by the sides of the body, shining forward. We'll just take a breath here before we move into our first sun salutation. Inhale, arms come together, sweeping up to the sky. Option to back bend. Exhale, we move down to the mat, coming into the forward fold. Inhale, we halfway lift, hands on shins. Exhale, we move into a chaturanga. This, we have 2 options. We can either lower ourselves down using our core strength, or we can drop the knees, chest, chin, before moving into cobra as we inhale. Exhale, we move up into downward dog. Inhale, right leg sweeps up to the sky and through, coming into a low lunge, opening up the chest. Exhale, we come into chaturanga again, lowering ourselves down. Inhale, we come up to cobra. Exhale, we move into downward dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps up to the sky and plants in between the hands, opening up the chest. Exhale, our right foot joins the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we melt the body down into a forward fold. Inhale, we micro bend the knees, hands together as we sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands down through heart center, coming into mountain pose. And it generates a lot of heat in the body, so we'll just find our breath here. Before we move into 2 more rounds. If you want to grab some water, grab some water. Feet strong, palms shining forward. We take an inhale, palms together, pressing up to the sky. Exhale, fold the body forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga, or option to do knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right leg sweeps forward, opening up the chest. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Left leg sweeps under, opening up the chest. Exhale, right foot joins the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we melt the body down. Micro bend in the knees. We inhale and sweep the palms all the way up to the sky. Option to back bend. As we exhale, palms come through heart center and down by our sides, coming into mountain pose. And again, you can maybe even close your eyes. We're just going to find our breath before we move into our third and final round of sun salutations. Inhale, palms together, pressing up to the sky. Option to back bend. Exhale, we fold the body forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right leg sweeps through, opening up the chest. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps under the body. Exhale, right foot joins the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we melt the body down. Micro bend in the knees, palms together as we inhale all the way up to the sky. Exhale, palms down through heart center and by our sides, coming into mountain pose. And we'll just take a moment to recenter ourselves. Maybe grab some water. But we should be feeling so strong. Really, really strong after doing 3 runs of sun salutations. From here, we're just going to come up onto our tippy toes, arms parallel to the mat, as we very slowly lower the body down. The higher the tippy toes you are, the harder this is going to be. And we're just going to hug our knees into our chest. Give ourselves a lovely little hug before we let the body rock down to the mat. Stretching legs down out in front of us. We inhale, the knees come into the chest. Just hug our body in as we rock from side to side. Releasing the knees, the hands come behind the knees before we rock ourselves all the way back up, giving our spine a really lovely massage. From here we cross our legs, planting both hands at the front of the mat, tucking our toes and pushing up into downward dog. Inhale, the right leg sweeps up to the sky before planting between the hands. Cartwheel the arms up, coming into our warrior sequence. So we want to make sure that the left foot is 90 degrees, right foot is facing forward, and the heels are in a straight line. We find length across the chest, really shooting energy out of the right hand and the left hand, imagining a string is pulling our head up to the sky. Our gaze is just over our right hand. The right knee should not be overshooting the ankle. We want to align the knee and the ankle. And we can just bounce. Just bounce in the knee. And then we straighten out the right leg. We reach the right hand forward, 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 forward until we can't reach any more, and then we rotate the arms so the right hand can find the ankle, or maybe the shin, or maybe even the mat. Our gaze should be over the left hand. And we're just going to find our breath here. Two more breaths. On our next inhale, we use the core strength to pull ourselves back up, bending the right knee. The right forearm comes on to the knee. We air guitar the left arm up to the sky, trying to create a lovely straight line from the left ankle up to the left hand. If bind is in your practice, you can come into a bind now. We'll hold this for 2 more breaths. Coming out the way we came in. If you're in a bind, release your grip, using your core to come back up. And we move into a reverse warrior. So the right arm just curves over the head. Left hand can either come to the left leg or it can tuck round onto the right hip. Gaze should be up to the sky. Just making sure we've still got that bend in the right knee. Breathe, find your breath here. We don't want to be holding our breath. One more breath here. Bringing the hands back down to the mat. Pushing up into a downward dog. We're just going to pedal out the feet as we recalibrate the body. Left leg sweeps up to the sky as we inhale. Planting the foot between the hands as we cartwheel the arms up. I'm just going to twist around so you can see me. Again, let's set ourselves up really nicely. So right foot 90 degrees, heels in a line, left foot straight ahead, energy shooting out of both hands, both fingers. Imagining a string pulling our head up to the sky so we find length. And we're just going to bounce on the left knee. Making sure that the left knee isn't overshooting the ankle too much here. Straightening out the left leg. We reach as far forward as we can with the left hand, as far forward as we can until we can't reach any further, and we rotate the arms all the way up. Left hand can come to the ankle, the shin, or maybe even the mat. We'll do 2 more breaths here. Come out the way we came in. So using our core strength, we pull ourselves back up through center, bending the left knee. Our forearm comes onto the left knee. We air guitar the right arm up to the sky, being aware always of the left knee not overshooting the left ankle. Again, if a bind is in your practice, you can come into a bind now. Do 2 more breaths here. Coming back out the way we came in. If you're in a bind, release the bind, using our core strength to come up, and then reversing the warrior. The left arm just curves over the head. Right hand can find the right leg, or it can just tuck on the left hip bone. Two more breaths here. Coming back through center. We're going to plant our hands at the front of the mat, pushing up into a downward dog. pedaling out the feet. Just finding a little bit of movement with the legs. Our gaze comes to the front of the mat, and we can walk or float to the front. And from here, we let the front of the body melt down to the ground, really letting gravity help us by pulling the front of the body forward. And we're just going to gently rock from side to side. Hands come onto elbows, coming into ragdoll. We're just going to play with our balance, coming onto the balls of our feet and then the heels, making sure the head is heavy as can be. Dropping the arms back down to the mat, we gently roll the body all the way up. Making sure that the head is the very last thing to roll all the way up to standing before we move into our balancing sequence. So we're going to start with the left leg. So the left leg, we're just going to imagine it growing roots down into the earth below us. We want it to feel so secure, so stable. Our hands come onto our hips, and we're just going to start playing around with our right foot. So we're just going to lift the right foot gently off the mat and just skim the surface of the floor below you. This is just an exercise to ensure that the left leg is as secure as can be before we bring the right knee up to our chest. Now it can help to find a fixed object in your room. This is called a drishti gaze, so you want your drishti gaze to be engaged. Use that object, use that fixed thing to secure your stability. Left hand comes onto the left hip. Right knee we can open up to the side. Really engaging the left leg, making it work for you. Closing the right knee back in. We drop the right leg down to the ground. Right hand comes onto the hip as well before coming into tree pose. So our right foot can find our ankle, or it can find our knee, or it can maybe even come up to the thigh. Whatever is most comfortable for you. We want to find that fixed object. We want to engage our drishti gaze. Hands can maybe come together at heart center. Maybe we can even grow some branches. Really finding that balance, finding that stability. Hands can come back into heart center. Right leg can just drop down to the floor, getting ready to come into dancer's pose. So we want to hold our right hand out as if we're holding plates, and then the right foot is just going to tuck on top of the right hand. Left arm sweeps up to the sky. We take a big inhale before we gently tip the body forward. Hold this for 2 more breaths. If you fall out, just get back into it. And just don't forget to keep kicking the hand with the foot. So coming out of the pose, we'll move on to the right side of the body. So hands come onto our hips. Right foot, we want to imagine growing roots down into the earth below us. Really creating stability with the right leg. And the left leg can just start skimming the ground below us. we feel particularly stable on the right side of the body. The left knee can come up to the chest. Maybe we open the left leg out to the left side, keeping our right hand on our hip to secure us. Bringing the left knee back through center. We drop the leg down to the floor, coming into tree pose. So the left foot can either find the ankle or the knee or the thigh. Make the right leg work for you. Really engage all the muscles. Keep growing those roots down into the ground. Find that stability. Engage your drishti gaze. Hands come to heart center when we're ready. Maybe we can grow our branches, grow our leaves, stretch higher. Hands come back through heart center. Dropping the left leg to the floor, we get ready to set up for dancer's pose. So the left hand comes out as if it's carrying some plates, and we want the left foot to just tuck on top of the left hand. Right arm sweeps up to the sky. We take a big inhale here as we gently tip forward. Remembering to keep kicking the left foot into the left hand. Find that fixed point. Engage your drishti gaze. 2 more breaths here. If you fall out, just get back in. Before we gently tip ourselves back up and drop the left foot to the ground. So from here, we are going to place our hands at the front of the mat, coming into our favorite pose of downward dog. We do it enough. So we're just going to stretch out the legs, pedal out the feet. Right leg sweeps up to the sky, coming into pigeon pose. So we want the bottom half of the leg to be at a 45-degree angle to the mat. Our left leg should be shooting straight out behind us. We just find some space in the chest. We don't want to collapse the shoulders. We want to keep them open. And when we feel comfortable here, we can maybe lower ourselves down onto our forearms. And if that feels comfortable, maybe even our forehead comes down towards the mat. Making sure that we're not collapsing the hips and the hips are square to the mat. We don't want them to drop either side, and if that means you have to stay higher up, then that's perfect, but make sure the hip doesn't collapse on either side. We'll do 2 more breaths here. On our next inhale, we just edge the body back up. Placing the palms on the front, we tuck the left toe before pushing ourselves up into downward dog. Inhale, the left leg sweeps up to the sky before we place it 45 degrees at the front of the mat. Coming into pigeon on the other side. So the right leg we want to be jutting straight out behind us, making sure the toes are pointing not to the left or the right, but they're straight behind. Finding again that space in the chest before we either stay here or lower ourselves down onto our forearms, maybe even bringing the forehead down onto the mat. Again, being conscious that we don't want the hip to drop to the right or the left, we want to keep them square to the mat. We're just finding our breath here. We'll do 2 more breaths from here. Slowly edging our way back up, planting our hands at the front of the mat. We tuck the right toe and push into downward dog. And from here, we just bring our feet in, coming into seating pose, crossing our legs, and then straightening the legs out in front of us, getting ready for boat pose. So our legs want to be parallel to the mat, arms parallel to the mat, and we can play around with our core. So the lower down you go, you can feel the more your core has to start working. So find your edge, don't push yourself too much, but just, you want the right amount. You want to find that edge where we're challenging ourselves. We'll hold this for 3 more breaths. And then we're gently going to lower the body all the way down to the mat. Bending the knees come into the chest. Opening the arms up into a cross, we take a big inhale, and as we exhale, we gently drop the knees to the right side of the body. Our gaze can either be directly above, and if we want something slightly more intense, we can just bring the gaze over the left arm. This is a really nice, gentle spinal twist. Making sure that we're aware of our breathing, aware of the quality of our breath. We're not holding our breath. We're breathing through the pose. Next inhale, we use our core to bring our knees up to the sky. And as we exhale, we drop the legs to the left side. Again, our gaze can either be directly above us or it can flush over the right arm. Two more breaths here, finding that breath, noticing the quality of the breath. Inhale, we engage the core, coming up through center, and then dropping the legs into a diamond shape, so we're coming into a reclined butterfly. And then we're going to create a second diamond with our arms. Really expansive pose. We're creating a lot of space in the top half of the body and the lower half. And we'll just start noting any changes in the body after our 45-minute Vinyasa sequence. How are we feeling? Are we feeling looser? Are we feeling more relaxed? Are we feeling calmer? Just becoming aware of all those sensations in our body. On our next inhale, we bring the knees up to the chest, tucking our knees chest and our arms wrap around them, giving ourselves a nice big hug. We can gently rock from side to side. Releasing the knees, the hands come behind the knees before we rock ourselves up to seating. Massaging our spine as we rock all the way up before coming into a cross-legged position. Hands onto our knees, closing our eyes, and just bringing our attention back into the body. We take a big audible inhale through the nose and an audible exhale through the mouth. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bringing our hands to heart center. The light and love in me honors and bows to the light and love in you. And when we meet in that place, we are one. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this Vinyasa flow with me. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.